ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्तो राधा कान्तो नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Please repeat with me. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. One last time. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So very warm welcome to all of you. Today we are going to start the 14th chapter. So my realization might not be as far as Viram Prabhu's realization, but I will share what I could understand. And there is a very deep connection between the 13th chapter and 14th chapter. So indirectly we will summarize a little bit 13th chapter also. So first question is, what are the 6 subjects which are covered in the 13th chapter? Anybody wants to answer? From last class given by Prabhu. Nobody remembers? Swati Mataji is there?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Yes, Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Go
सर
ahead.
हम लोगों ने 13 चैप्टर में 6 क्वेश्चंस के बारे में पढ़ा था। 6 क्वेश्चन में था कि व्हाट इज क्षेत्र क्या है और क्षेत्र को जानने वाला कौन है, और ज्ञान क्या है और जानने योग्य क्या है, हु इज द नेचर एंड हु इज द एंड व्हाट इज द फील्ड ऑफ एक्टिविटी।
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Thank you. So, Kshetra, Kshetragya, Jnanam, Gyeyam, or Purusha and Prakriti. So, if we see closely, Kshetra is the body and Kshetragya is the soul and super soul. So, Kshetra is material and Kshetragya are spiritual. And Jnanam is knowledge and Gyeyam is object of knowledge, who is Krishna himself. We see that Prabhupada is describing every aspect of these 6 elements in detail in the 13th chapter. तो पहले वो क्षेत्र बताते हैं कि क्षेत्र हमारा शरीर है, उसके 4 प्रॉपर्टीज हैं उसकी। क्षेत्र मीन्स एक फील्ड की तरह, एग्रीकल्चरल फील्ड की तरह, जैसा आप उसमें बीज बोएंगे वैसे ही आप फसल काटेंगे। और क्षेत्र के अंदर एक क्षेत्रज्ञ है। और उसके बाद फिर ज्ञानम बताते हैं 13.8 to 12 में कि व्हाट कंस्टिट्यूट स्पिरिचुअल नॉलेज। और उसके बाद ज्ञेयम बताते हैं कि व्हाट इज हु इज कृष्णा। सुपर सोल हैज इट्स हैंड्स एंड लेग्स एवरीवेयर। सो जैसे हम ईशोपनिषद में हमने पढ़ा था भक्ति शास्त्री में 2nd मॉड्यूल में कि जो कृष्णा होते हैं, ही कैन रन फास्टर देन द माइंड एंड ही इज बेसिकली प्रेजेंट इन एवरी एटम ऑफ एवरी मटेरियल थिंग. So all these properties are covered in the 13th chapter. So that is ज्ञेयम. और उसके बाद फिर तीसरा सेट क्या है, पुरुषा और प्रकृति. तो पुरुषा जो है वो लिविंग एंटिटी और कृष्णा है, और प्रकृति जो है वो मटेरियल नेचर है. तो हमने ये 6 चीजें पढ़ी थी. और हम देखते हैं कि भगवत गीता में सबसे मतलब भगवत गीता में बार बार योगा 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 ही है। तो सबसे पहला योगा कौन सा बताते हैं कृष्णा, कौन सा समझा रहे हैं, कौन सा पढ़ा रहे हैं? अगर भगवत गीता को सिक्वेंशली शुरू से पढ़े फर्स्ट चैप्टर से।
कर्मयोग।
कर्मयोग थर्ड चैप्टर में कवर कर रहे हैं भगवान। उससे पहले भी कोई है और कोई बताना चाहे? अंकुश प्रभु, सिमरन माता जी, पवन प्रभु। कर्मयोग के बाद क्या कवर कर रहे हैं? ध्यान योग आता है सिक्स
ज्ञान
चैप्टर में। हाँ,
ज्ञान
ध्यान
योग।
योग, यस। तो कर्मयोग से पहले कृष्णा सांख्य योग के बारे में बताते हैं अर्जुन को, क्योंकि अर्जुन बहुत ज्यादा लामेंट कर रहे हैं। वो कह रहे हैं कि मेरे गुरुजन मेरे सामने हैं, मेरे फैमिली मेंबर्स मेरे सामने हैं, मैं इनको मार कैसे सकता हूँ? और कृष्णा बार बार उन्हें बोल रहे हैं कि नहीं, यू शुड फाइट एज अ क्षत्रिय, यू शुड फाइट। तो उसके बाद क्योंकि अर्जुन जो है वो उनके नेगेटिव इमोशंस इतने स्ट्रांग हो गए ना, उसके बाद कृष्णा जो है वो सांख्य योग स्टार्ट करते हैं कि देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन बॉडी एंड सोल। देयर आर सम प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ बॉडी एंड देयर आर सम प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ द सोल। सो व्हाट आर द प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ द सोल?
कोई आत्मा को मार नहीं सकता और ना ही उसे कोई ना वो पैदा हो सकती है ना वो मर सकती है। किसी शस्त्र से नहीं मारा जा सकता, किसी अस्त्र से नहीं मारा जा सकता।
यस यस। भाषांशी जर्नानी यथा विहाय। सो इट कैन नॉट बी किल्ड, इट कैन नॉट बी ड्राइड, है ना? किसी भी वेपन से इसको काटा नहीं जा सकता, इसको जलाया नहीं जा सकता, इसको गीला नहीं करा जा सकता। तो जो आत्मा है वो अमर है ना? और शरीर जो है वो नश्वर है। शरीर इज टेम्पररी और आत्मा जो है वो परमानेंट है, इटर्नल है। और आत्मा का जो भगवान से एक शाश्वत संबंध है। भगवान का भी जो रूप है वो सच्चिदानंद विग्रह रूप है, और आत्मा का भी एक रूप है सच्चिदानंद विग्रह रूप। जब हम भक्ति करते हैं तो हमें धीरे धीरे पता चलने लगता है कि हमारे हार्ट में एक आत्मा है जो मूव होने लगती है अंदर। आत्मा भी है, और फिर धीरे धीरे जब हम भक्ति करते हैं तो परमात्मा का भी प्रेजेंस फील होने लगता है। तो कृष्णा ये सांख्य योग के बारे में बता रहे हैं अर्जुन को सेकंड चैप्टर में, क्योंकि ये नॉलेज इज रिक्वायर्ड सो दैट अर्जुन कैन कम अबव द मोड्स ऑफ नेचर। त्रैगुण्या विषया वेदा निस्त्रैगुण्य भव अर्जुन निर्द्वंद नित्व सत्वस्थो योगक्षेम। So basically Krishna is asking Arjuna to come beyond the three modes of nature. तो जितने भी आर्ग्यूमेंट्स अर्जुन दे रहे हैं फॉर नॉट फाइटिंग, इट इज विद इन द थ्री मोड्स ऑफ नेचर। तो सांख्य योग को इनडायरेक्टली ज्ञान योग भी बोलते हैं। तो ज्ञान योग और सांख्य योग इट इज द सेम, कि मतलब समहाउ वी अंडरस्टैंड कि वी आर नॉट दिस बॉडी, वी आर स्पिरिट सोल एंड वी आर मेंट टू सर्व कृष्णा। जीवेरे स्वरूप कृष्ण नित्यदास। And in the spiritual world, we are eternally subordinate to Krishna. We are dancing on the tunes of Krishna. Krishna says, if Krishna says dance, then we dance. If Krishna says take prasadam, we take prasadam. If Krishna says to do some service, then we do some service in Vaikuntha, right? So according to Krishna's tunes, we are dancing. And as a result, we are completely happy. There is no lamentation, there is no hankering. We are totally satisfied in that connection with Krishna. We are doing whatever Krishna wants. So in one of the purports in 3.30, Prabhupada writes that the happy position of a soul is to be completely subordinate to Krishna. He is totally subordinate because a soul is never independent. A soul is always dependent on Krishna. And when he depends on Krishna, then automatically he experiences some spiritual rasas with Krishna. So why I am asking this, that what is the first yoga? It is Gyan Yoga, Sankhya Yoga. It is because this third module, 13th chapter to 18th chapter, it is actually an indirect emphasis on Gyan Yoga. So Krishna is saying that I will elaborate more on the Gyan Yoga. मतलब मैं तुम्हें और अच्छे से बताऊंगा कि ये सांख्य योग को कैसे समझा जा सकता है। तो इसलिए हमने देखा 13 चैप्टर में जो 6 सब्जेक्ट्स हैं, ज्ञानम ज्ञेयम और पुरुषा प्रकृति क्षेत्र क्षेत्रज्ञम, तो ये हमें और अच्छे से समझ में आता है कि 3 चीजें जो है वो डिफरेंट है। शरीर हमारा डिफरेंट है, आत्मा हमारी डिफरेंट है, और परमात्मा डिफरेंट है। आत्मा जो है उसको सिर्फ अपने शरीर का पता होता है, परमात्मा को सारे शरीरों का पता होता है। और ऐसे ही पुरुषा और प्रकृति भी डिफरेंट है। पुरुषा जो है वो भगवान है, प्रकृति जो है वो भगवान की एनर्जी है, मटेरियल नेचर है। तो ऐसे हम ज्ञान योग को और अच्छे से समझ पा रहे हैं हम 13 चैप्टर। ठीक है, और अब हम 14 चैप्टर स्टार्ट जब करेंगे तो इसमें हम देखेंगे कि भगवान कह रहे हैं कि ये जो नॉलेज है ये दिस इज फार बेटर देन एनी अदर नॉलेज आई हैव गिवन इन भगवत गीता। ऐसा क्यों कह रहे हैं भगवान? कोई गेस करना चाहेगा? मतलब इसके बाद हम परपोर्ट पढ़ना स्टार्ट करते हैं कि 14 चैप्टर विच इज entitled द थ्री मोड्स ऑफ मटेरियल नेचर, that is the best knowledge, Krishna is saying. Krishna is saying in the 9th chapter also, this knowledge is the best. Rajavidya, Rajguhyam, Pavitramidam, Uttamam, Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmam, Susukham Kartumabhya. So if you take this transcendental knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, this Rajvidya, then you can see the self, you can see the soul, and you can see the super soul also within your heart. Pratyaksha avagamam dharmam. Just like when you see your face in the mirror, you are able to see yourself in the heart. And susukham kartum abhyaya. So when you gain this knowledge, you become joyful. And this knowledge is eternal. Eternally, you are basically feeling blissful. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogata bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. तो 9 चैप्टर में भगवान जो कह रहे हैं उसके ऊपर और भगवान 14 चैप्टर में कह रहे हैं कि this knowledge is even best of all knowledge, and I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection. तो ऐसा क्यों कह रहे हैं भगवान? कोई गेस करना चाहेगा? Yes, true. प्रज्ञा माता जी, you want to guess? तो इस मतलब पहले 9 श्लोकास, मतलब इसका आंसर इसमें है। हमारा जो 14 चैप्टर है वो 3 सेक्शंस में डिवाइडेड है। पहले 9 श्लोकास में हम लोग कंडीशनिंग ऑफ द मोड्स डिस्कस करेंगे, जो आज पूरा कवर हो जाएगा। उसके बाद फिर हम डिस्कस करेंगे कि डिफरेंट गुणों का क्या डिफरेंट असर होता है, उसके क्या कैरेक्टरिस्टिक होते हैं। जैसे सत्व गुण का कैरेक्टरिस्टिक होता है कि वी बिकम वेरी वेरी सेटिस्फाइड, वेरी मच ब्लिसफुल, वेरी मच फुल ऑफ नॉलेज, एंड आवर body also becomes full of knowledge. We are experiencing a lot of auspiciousness, and we get a sense of higher superiority, that I'm so knowledgeable, I'm so good. So that is the binding nature of mode of goodness. Similarly, characteristic of mode of passion is that you are striving for some result. So you are running, you are striving very hard. And characteristic of mode of ignorance is that you are always very lazy. You are either sleeping, or you are crying, or you are bewildered by some lower mode. So these characteristics, and then there is action. If you die in mode of goodness, then you achieve higher planets. If you die in mode of passion, then you remain in the earthly planets. If you die in mode of ignorance, then you go to animal species. So all this is discussed in the second section of the 14th chapter. And finally, after analyzing the 3 modes, what are its effects, and what are basically the different activities like action, characteristic, and death, Krishna tells about how to transcend these 3 modes. We have to come beyond the sattva guna. Mayi chananya yogena bhakti ravyabhicharini sagunan samadhiteta brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So we have to do pure devotional service, and when we do pure devotional service, Sagunan samati thetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Then we transcend the modes. Guna means modes. So guna in Hindi, it means the ropes. So you must have seen that cartoon. भगवत गीता में एक कार्टून है जिसमें 3 पपेट्स बनी है बेसिकली, और 3 पपेट्स को 3 आंटियां जो है ऊपर, माता जी जो है वो कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं। तो ऐसे ही ये जो 3 गुण है, रजोगुण, तमोगुण और सत्वगुण, ये तीनों जो है रोप्स की तरह हैं जो हमें बांधे हुए हैं, और इनसे ऊपर उठने के लिए हमें भक्ति करनी चाहिए, और शुद्ध भक्ति करनी चाहिए। तो इसमें ऐसे हम डिस्कस करेंगे, ठीक है। तो 9th फर्स्ट 9 श्लोकास में हम देखेंगे कि पहले 2 श्लोका में भगवान कह रहे हैं कि जो ये नॉलेज मैं देने जा रहा हूँ 14 चैप्टर में, दिस इज बेस्ट ऑफ ऑल नॉलेज, ठीक है। और उसके बाद भगवान 3rd और 4th श्लोकास में बताएंगे कि हाउ लिविंग एंटिटी कम्स इनटू द मटेरियल वर्ल्ड, ठीक है। और उसके बाद 4th श्लोक से बताएंगे कि हाउ लिविंग एंटिटी इज इंटरेक्टिंग विद द मटेरियल नेचर, एंड व्हेन लिविंग एंटिटी इंटरेक्ट्स विद मटेरियल नेचर, then it becomes, those are the interactions of the modes of nature depending on the consciousness, depending on the subtle covering of the living entity. Living entity is interacting with the material nature in a particular mode. So that those are the first 4 verses, and then in the next 5 verses we will cover that how living entity, what are the effects of different modes of nature, and how living entity becomes affected by 3 modes of nature. तो इसमें हम देखेंगे कि 13 चैप्टर में जो क्षेत्र और क्षेत्रज्ञ है ना, तो क्षेत्र जो है वो बॉडी है और क्षेत्रज्ञ जो है वो आत्मा है, आत्मा और परमात्मा है। तो आत्मा किस तरह बॉडी से आइडेंटिफाई करती है वो इस पूरे चैप्टर में अच्छे से डिटेल में एनालाइज किया हुआ है कृष्ण भगवान द्वारा। और भगवान कह रहे हैं कि दिस इज द हाईएस्ट ऑफ ऑल नॉलेज, knowing which you will be, knowing this wisdom you will become most saintly, most knowledgeable. तो वो इसलिए कह रहे हैं क्योंकि you will learn how to interact with this क्षेत्र, how to learn to interact with this body, because our consciousness is actually directly proportional to the mode in which we are interacting with this body. We are not this body, we are a spirit soul, but when we are able to distinguish between these two, and when we do the bodily activities separate from the soul, we are able to see the soul different from the body, then we have gained the highest wisdom. And if we are not able to do so, if we are not able to distinguish between body and soul, then at least by this knowledge of this chapter we are able to understand that which mode of nature we are in. Because if we understand, then we at least we will have some knowledge, we will be conscious of our consciousness, and then we can take some resources, we can take some measures to elevate our consciousness. So that's why this is the best of knowledge, because as soon as we rebel against Krishna in spiritual world, immediately we are sent to the material. Material world means we will get this body, we'll get this package where we have to enjoy the fruits of past births. And when we get this body, then how to, because Bhagavad Gita is like a manual, this body is like a car, yantra rudani maya, right? So whenever you buy a car, or whenever you buy OTG, or whenever you buy a new equipment, you get a manual, how to operate that manual. So similarly with this body, you get Bhagavad Gita, that how to live in this body very, very happily, how to follow. So we can live very happily residing in this city of 9 gates by following the rules and regulations of Vedic injunctions. Navadvare pure dehi. So this body is compared to a city of 9 gates. So there are 9 gates. Anybody knows what are those 9 gates? Anybody wants to?
Prabhu, it is ear, eyes, nose,
Yes.
and eyes,
Yeah.
nose, mouth,
Wow.
and
Anus and genitals.
Janendriya.
Yeah, anus and genitals. Basically. So basically, we will see in this chapter that whatever mode we are in, the same mode will be our Navadvare Purade. The 9 holes which are present in this body, those are also getting eliminated by mode of goodness. So yesterday we were discussing that the stool of a pure devotee is also aromatic. Aromatic means वो अच्छी गंध छोड़ता है. Or this is very natural actually. मतलब you can understand what is happening in your subtle mind, or you can understand what is happening in your body, whether the body is happy or body is having some toxins, based on the quality of your stool. So Prabhupada is telling this actually to one devotee, that even the stool of a pure devotee is aromatic. It's full of transcendence actually. Yeah, it's a very funny thing, but yeah. Okay, so with this, summary discussion, we'll start reading the shlokas and we'll discuss the important portions of the verse. If you want, you can recite with me. First line I'll recite and then Shri Bhagavan Vacha. You can recite together. Can you recite? Anybody?
Yes, bro. Sri Bhagavan Vacha.
Param Bhuya Pravakshyami
Param Bhuya Pravakshyami
Jnananam Jnanamuttamam
Jnanam
Yajñātvā Munaya Sarve Param Siddhemito Gata. Somebody can read the translation. Ankush, you want to read?
Yes, sir. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Again I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection."
Thank you. Purport. From the 7th chapter to the end of 12th chapter, Sri Krishna in detail reveals the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now the Lord himself is further enlightening Arjuna. If one understands this chapter through the process of philosophical speculation, he will come to an understanding of devotional service. So even although mental speculation is forbidden, but if you understand this chapter by mental speculation also, you will come to devotional service. In the 13th chapter, it was clearly explained that by humbly developing knowledge, one may possibly be freed from material entanglement. Amanitva, Madambitva. So that is the first item of knowledge. If you humbly develop knowledge of the spirit soul, then you can come out of the material entanglement. It has also been explained that it is due to association with the modes of nature that the living entity is entangled in this material world. Purusha Prakritisto hi bhungte Prakriti Jan Gudan Karanam Goda Sangosya Sadasad Yoni Janmasu. Because on this tree of body, both the birds are sitting, super soul and soul, but the soul is enjoying the fruits of this body, of this tree. And because of the association with the modes of nature, it is taking so many species. Sadasad Yoni Janmasu. In multiple birds, it is taking species. Now, in this chapter, the Supreme Personality explains what those modes of nature are, how they act, how they bind, and how they give liberation. The knowledge explained in this chapter is proclaimed by the Supreme Lord to be superior to the knowledge given so far in other chapters. By understanding this knowledge, various great sages attained perfection and transferred to the spiritual world. The Lord now explains the same knowledge in a better way. This knowledge is far, far superior to all other processes of knowledge thus far explained, and knowing this, many attained perfection. Thus, it is expected that one who understands this 14th chapter will attain perfection. So, in Nectar of Instruction, preface also, Prabhupada writes that one's first business, a person who wants to make spiritual advancement, his first business is to control his mind and senses. And when one is able to control his mind and senses, then one can execute a life of mode of goodness. And when your life is primarily in mode of goodness, then everything else what is needed for making further progress will be further revealed. So that will be revealed by Krishna himself. So mode of goodness is very important for all the devotees. Even if we are not in goodness, then we should hear from those who are in goodness. And if we are in goodness, then we should pray to Krishna, and Krishna will reciprocate, and Krishna will give us intelligence so that we can make us progress in the spiritual. Because Krishna is more eager than us to take us back to God. If we take one step, Krishna takes 100 steps. So that's why this chapter is very, very important to understand, to analyze our life, our schedule, what is happening in our consciousness. Yeah. Okay, you can recite if you want. Idam jnanam upashritya
Idam jnanam
mama sadharmyam agata
mama sadharmayam
sarge pinopajayante
sarge
pralayena vyatanti cha.
prena
By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. So there is a similar verse in the fourth chapter, right? Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vekti tatvata. Anybody knows the second line?
प्रभुजी त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नेति मामेति स अर्जुन.
Yes, yes. Thank you. So actually, if we become fixed in this knowledge, then automatically we will realize the Nam Roop Goda Leela of the Lord, Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam, and then we will not be disturbed by the disturbing circumstances like creation or annihilation. If you see the body of Narad Muni was in a maid servant's son's body, and by serving Bhakti Vedantas, he became a Mahabhagavata devotee. So when the dissolution happens, when annihilation happens, Narad Muni doesn't need to be a part of Mahavishnu's. So actually at the time of annihilation, all the conditioned souls, they get stuck to the body of Mahavishnu with their subtle bodies in a dormant state. That is the 12-hour night of Brahma. So that is a very painful condition because you can't move. As a soul, we are active, right? Anandmyo Vyasa. So we are meant to be active. If we are active, then we are happy. When you make advancement in devotional service, you are active. You are always singing Krishna's names and you are doing your services very, very blissfully. But if we are told to be locked in a room, then we become very, very frustrated, very, very irritated, right? So similarly, the annihilation is a very painful process. But Mahabhagavata devotees like Narad Muni, who don't have any subtle body, they don't need to get stuck on the body of Mahavishnu. They are free. They have attained this knowledge and they directly go to Vaikuntha. And whenever some devotee is in need, Narad Muni, by inspiration of Super Soul, he comes in front of that devotee and he gives the appropriate instructions. So this is also an important verse. Yeah. So generally in the material world, whatever knowledge we get is contaminated by three modes of material nature. Knowledge which is not contaminated by three modes of nature is called transcendental knowledge. So actually there was one sentence written in the 13th chapter, one of the shlokas, that Brahman is concentrated transcendental knowledge. So the more you cultivate this conception of spirituality, and the more you distribute this Krishna consciousness to others, the more your Brahman will become more concentrated in your heart. And you will be able to realize that actually this heart is like a vessel. Heart is like a lake of Shuddha Sattva. So when you do bhakti, Krishna pours the vessel, pours the drops of Shuddha Sattva, Harinam in your heart. So that becomes transcendental knowledge. And concentrated transcendental knowledge is Brahman. And we know that in the last class, Prabhu was telling that at what all places Brahman word is used. We will see in the next verse that Brahman word is also used for Pradhan. Pradhan is only the conglomerated, concentrated material nature. So Brahman is used for Atma also, Brahman is used for mind, Brahman is used for senses. But in this chapter, we will see that Brahman word is used for material conglomeration. So as soon as one is situated in that transcendental knowledge, he is on the same platform as the Supreme Person. So we become non-different from Krishna if we are situated on the spiritual platform. Shrotriyam Brahma Nistham. So if our spirituality is Nistha, it is without any obstacles, we are always fixed in our relationship with Krishna, then we become very similar to Krishna. Those who have no knowledge of the spiritual sky hold that after being freed from the material activities of the material form. this spiritual identity becomes formless without any variegatedness. However, just as there is material variegatedness in this world, in the spiritual world, there is also variegatedness. Those in ignorance of this think that spiritual existence is opposed to material variety. But actually, in the spiritual sky, one attains a spiritual form. There are spiritual activities, and the spiritual situation is called devotional life. That atmosphere is said to be uncontaminated, and there one is equal in quality with the Supreme Lord. To obtain such knowledge, one must develop all these spiritual qualities. One who thus develops the spiritual qualities is not affected either by the creation or by the destruction of the material world. So in this paragraph, Prabhupada is determining the prerequisites to enter the spiritual world of the Lord. We have to develop spiritual qualities. Yeah. Today we were discussing about Prahlad Maharaj, that how Prahlad was totally unblemished by the disturbing circumstances, because he was able to see the Lord every time, because he heard from his Guru for 10,000 celestial years. And because of that hearing, his spiritual qualities were substantial. Okay, and devotional service is full of variegatedness. So there can be different types of devotees, different types of services. Somebody is interested in hearing, somebody is interested in philosophy. I know that Ravi Prabhu is very much interested in philosophy. Somebody is interested in taking prasadam, somebody is interested in Rath Yatra, somebody is interested in dressing the deities. So there is a lot of variegatedness, and there is a lot of activity. If you become an impersonalist, then there is no activity. You just have to sit down at one place, you have to meditate on the light of the candle, and you just merge yourself. There is no actual bhakti rasa in that impersonalism. But when you do bhakti, there are so many activities you can do. Every activity is full of bhakti rasa. Every activity becomes Krishnaized. Okay, we'll go to the next verse. So now Krishna will explain that how living entities enter into this material world, how the Kshetragya comes in the contact of the Kshetra. You can recite it if you are able. Mama yonir mahat brahma
Mama yonir mahat brahma
Brahma
tasmin garbham dadami aham
tasmin grabham
tasmin garbham dadami
sambhava sarva bhutanam
sambhava sarva
Sambhava
bhutanam
sarvabhutanam
tato bhavati bharata.
to bhavati
bhavati bharata.
Pragya Mataji, can you read translation?
Yes, Prabhuji. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is the Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata.
So actually Brahman word is used in two contexts in the same verse. So if you read the purport, Prabhupada clearly says that this Mahat Tattva is described as Brahman. So actually, at the time of creation, there is this material conglomeration. Material conglomeration means there is a dull matter. Just like there is black hole in the space, similarly, there is a lot of matter which is accumulated. And what Mahavishnu does is, Mahavishnu glances at this Mahat Tattva, and it impregnates this Mahat Tattva with living entities. So those living entities are also called Brahman. So the same Brahman is used in two contexts. One is that is the Mahat Tattva, which is the total material substance. And the impregnation which is done through the souls, which were initially on the body of Mahavishnu, those souls are also called Brahman. And this process makes possible for all the living entities to take birth in the material world. Okay. So this process is described in the first paragraph, and in the second paragraph, Prabhupada gives an analogy of scorpion. The scorpion lays its eggs in piles of rice, and sometimes it is said that the scorpion is born out of rice, but the rice is not the cause of the scorpion. Actually, the eggs were laid by the mother. So we might say that if husband and wife unite, that okay, by the mixing of ova and semen, by material chemical mixing. As scientists say that there is some person who is coming by material chemical combination. But that is not the truth. And to elaborate on that, Prabhupada is giving the example of a scorpion laying its eggs in the pile of rice. So if you find scorpion eggs in the pile of rice, some people might say that they have come out of rice. But the reality is that they are being given by a scorpion. So although we might say that semen and ova, all the activities are done by humans, so humans are producing people, but actually the soul comes from Krishna. Without the sanction of Krishna, soul will never enter. Without the sanction of Paramatma. Karmana deva netrena. So these are all very subtle and subtle topics, basically. Karmana deva netrena means there are authorities, there are 12 Mahajanas who are always overseeing our activities, our psychophysical activities also. And based on the psychophysical activities, they decide that which soul is qualified to enter into this combination of semen and ova. So without the sanction of Krishna, that soul never enters into that combination of semen and ova. And that is basically scorpion laying the eggs. Krishna is actually laying the real egg. And that's what Krishna will elaborate in the 4th verse. This is a very famous verse. You can decide if you want. Sarva yonishu kaunteya murtaya sambhavanti ya
Murtaya sambhavanti ya
tasam brahma mahadyone
tasam brahma mahadhyoni
aham bija pradapita.
aham bija
Pradapita.
Yeah. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. So Mahavishnu is glancing on the Mahatattva, and Mahatattva is impregnated by the souls, and that's why that for all the species of life, Krishna is the seed-giving father. That's why we are all brothers actually. For us, our mosquito, we should treat a mosquito like a brother, because both of us, our real father is Krishna. So anybody wants to read purport? Simran Mataji, you want to read? Yeah. Go ahead, Krishna.
In this verse, it is clearly explained that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the original father of all living entities. The living entities are combinations of the material nature and the spiritual nature. Such living entities are seen not only on this planet but on every planet, even on the highest, where Brahma is situated. Everywhere there are living entities. Within the earth, there are living entities, even within the water and within the fire. All these appearances are due to the mother material nature and Krishna's seed giving process. The purport is that the material world is impregnated with living entities who come out in various forms at the time of creation according to their past dates.
Yes. So just like when a seed turns into a tree, it starts growing. So similarly, when the living entity is planted in the body of a mother by Krishna, when it starts growing, then what different coverings, what different propensities, vasanas we are carrying in the soul, that becomes uncovered. Right? And this combination of Purusha and Prakriti is described in this purport very nicely. So just like the seed is given by the father and mother nourishes that seed, and because of the nourishment of the mother, the body is formed. So Prakriti is nourishing our body and the father is giving the seed. So Krishna is impregnating the material nature by souls, and material nature is giving all facilities to the soul for its bodily nourishment. That's why Krishna is also called maintainer of our Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Suridam Sarva Bhutana Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati. So Krishna is maintaining all the living entities in the sense that it is controlling the material nature and it is asking the material nature to support all the living entities. So it's not our manager or it's not our company which is maintaining us, but it is Krishna who is maintaining us. Because Krishna is not only maintaining humans, but he is maintaining all the 8,400,000 species. So that's why through the, like, because just like a wife is very submissive to the husband, material nature is very submissive to Krishna. Just Krishna says, okay, you do this, material nature is spontaneously following the instruction of Krishna. Okay. Sattvam rajastama iti. Next look.
Sattvam Rajastama Piti.
Rajastama iti.
Guna prakriti sambhava.
Guna Prakriti
Guna
Sambhava.
prakriti sambhava.
Nibadhanti mahabaho.
Nibandhanti
Nibandhanti
Mahabaho.
mahabaho.
Dehe dehinam avyayam.
Dehe
Dehi
Dehinam Abhyayam.
dehinam avyayam.
Material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes. So as soon as we come in contact with material nature, our material journey starts. And the more and more we act on lower modes, our material journey increases. And the more and more we are on mode of goodness and transcendence, our material journey decreases. We are identifying with the spirit soul. The living entity, because he is transcendental, has nothing to do with this material nature. So as a spirit soul, we are totally eternal. We have a very safe, happy position in the spiritual world. We have nothing to do with this material world. But still, because he has become conditioned by the material world, he is acting under the spell of the three modes of material nature. Because living entities have different kinds of bodies in terms of the different aspects of nature, they are induced to act according to that nature. This is the cause of the varieties of happiness and distress. So we read in the 13th chapter, right, that the living entities are the cause of happiness and distress. And the material nature, Prakriti, is the cause of cause and effect. So a living entity causes, he acts in such a way that it itself becomes the cause of its own happiness and distress. Suppose you get caught in a toxic relationship. So naturally your distress will increase. You don't need to do anything very specific, any effort. Automatically it will become more toxic. Similarly, like, is the internet working? Okay. So in this material world is also called, like, is also compared to a forest fire, right? A simple chingari has to be given and the entire forest fire starts. So that's why it's our primary duty to prioritize this hearing from devotees and coming in the association of devotees and doing bhakti. Yeah. Okay, next verse. Tatra sattvam nirmalatva.
Tatra Sattvam Nirmal.
Sattvam nirmalatva.
Prakashakam manabhyam.
Ashakam.
Sukha sangena badnati.
Sangena Badanti.
Jnana sangena chanagha.
Jnana Sangena.
O sinless one. Anaga means O sinless. So this Agha word, there is a demon Aghasura, right? Aghasura means that demon is full of sinful sins. Generally, a snake and scorpion, even a saintly person is happy if they are killed because they are full of sins. And Krishna is addressing Arjuna as a sinless one because Arjuna is a very pious personality. He is a very pure devotee actually. So Krishna is saying the mode of goodness being purer than others is illuminating and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. So actually what we want to do in our life is reflected by the modes which we have attained. For example, a devotee who is in mode of goodness, he would naturally like to read Bhagavad Gita. He would like to share the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita with others. He would like to conduct lectures, conduct Harinam. He would like to go to a farm He would like to arrange different situations where Sankirtan can be performed, Prasadam can be distributed. So naturally, he is inclined towards mode of goodness activities. And this gives him happiness and knowledge because internally he is very happy. Kama, Krodha, Labha, Mad, Matsarya, these are all gone, basically. But still, this happiness is giving him little pride that, okay, I am so good, I'm feeling so much enlightened, enlivened, my body is so happy. So, some pride, little bit pride is there of this knowledge and happiness. But this mode of goodness, it illumines everything, it enlightens everything. For example, these 4 Kumaras, right? These 4 Kumaras are full of Shuddha Sattva. They are never getting old. Yesterday, somebody was saying that our Guru Maharaj's consciousness has not changed at all in last 50 years. Whatever activity he does, the consciousness is the same. Kali Yuga is advancing, but our Guru Maharaj is totally fixed in his unalloyed consciousness. So, in the purport, Prabhupada is saying that a man in the mode of goodness is not so much affected by material miseries, and he has a sense of advancement in material knowledge. The representative type is the Brahmana, who is supposed to be situated in the mode of goodness. This sense of happiness is due to understanding that in the mode of goodness, one is more or less free from sinful reactions. Actually, in the Vedic literature, it is said that the mode of goodness means greater knowledge and a greater sense of happiness. So yesterday we were reading that only Dvijas can study the Vedas and they can derive meaningful meanings out of Bhagavad Gita, Vedas. So that is only because they are in mode of goodness. So even 7th chapter last verse says, right? Anybody knows Yesham Tvantagatam Papam, this verse? Ankush, you know? Yesham Tvantagatam Papam. Swat. Jananam Punya Karma. Yes, Madhuri. Yeah, you are not audible, but yeah, I think you are telling the right shloka. Yesham dvandagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandamohanirmukta bhajante mam drinavrata. So when our sinful reactions are gone, then we come out of the dualities of dvanda and moha. We are transcending the duality and transcending the illusion. And our bhajan becomes drinavrata. Our bhajan becomes determined. We are able to chant for continuously 2 hours. So that's why we are able to chant more rounds. Some devotees, I know, they chant 64 rounds before 8 a.m. in the morning. So if you chant 64 rounds in 6 hours, then you can chant 192 also. So it means that they have reached Nishtha. They are not experiencing a lot of mental turbulence while chanting. So here also, Prabhupada is writing that those who are in mode of goodness, their sinful activities have been finished. And in the second paragraph, Prabhupada is giving example of scientist and philosopher. They become proud of their knowledge and they want to invest more energy in cultivating that knowledge. But this pride is also binding. We have to come out of this pride and come to transcendence by begging for mercy of Krishna. We have to cry out to Krishna like a beggar. Then only we will come to transcendence. We will elevate the mode of goodness. Rajo ragatmakam vidhi trishna sanga samudbhavam tannibadnati kaunteya karma sangena dehina. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material fruitive actions. Okay. So in mode of goodness, you are having illumination, you are having satisfaction, knowledge, but in mode of passion, you are having more shochati and kamshati. You are hankering more material things and you are lamenting over past things. So that is binding you to your fruitive actions, material fruitive actions. Because in Grasta life, what happens is you want a lot of material things. You want car, you want a big house. So then if you want to attain this, then you have to work hard in your office. Okay. And actually, That's why this material world is also called Methunagar. Because of the attraction between male and female, this material world is created, and that is actually mode of passion. It is characterized by the attraction between man and woman. Okay. So you can read as a homework, you can read all these verses on yourself also. But we are just reading. So these are the characteristics of the three modes. We'll cover the 9 verses. Tvasma tamastva jnana jam vidhi. You can repeat.
Tamastav
Tamastav
ajnanam vidhi.
vidhi.
Mohanam sarvadehinam.
Mohanam
Mohanam
sarvade.
Mohanam sarvadehinam.
Pramadalasya nidrabhis.
Pramadalasya nidrabhis.
Tannibadnati bharata.
Tannipadnati bharata.
Swati Mataji, will you read translation?
O son of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness born of ignorance is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The result of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul.
Yes, thank you. So if you know, I'll give example of Chanakya Pandit. Chanakya Pandit, whenever he used to do Shastra study, he used to have a long shikha, and he used to bind his shikha to a tree branch, and he used to read like this. And whenever he used to get a jhatka, basically his shikha used to do like this. So we might say that, okay, it is okay to sleep sufficiently, which is okay. Yukta hara vyarasya, yukta chestasya karmasu, yukta swapnava bodhasya, yoga bhavati dukha. But gradually, as we decrease the material portion of our life, we should try to overcome sleep also. And that's why one name of Arjuna is Gudakesha. Gudakesha means he has conquered his sleep. Arjuna used to practice archery in the night also. So we should be so passionate about Krishna consciousness that we are able to conquer our sleep. Okay. So the mode of ignorance is just the opposite of mode of goodness. In the mode of goodness, by development and knowledge, one can understand what is what, but the mode of ignorance is just the opposite. Everyone under the spell of mode of ignorance becomes mad, and a madman cannot understand what is what. So mode of ignorance is like a person who is haunted by a ghost. He's running here and there. He's having panic attacks, all those things he's running. But yeah, we should be compassionate. We should give some nice prasadam to them. So like this, we can deal with mode of ignorance. And everyone can see that his grandfather has died, and therefore he will also die. Man is mortal. The children that he conceives will also die. So death is sure. Still, people are madly accumulating money and working very hard all day and night, not caring for the eternal spirit. So we should accumulate only that much money which is required for this life. We should not work too hard to accumulate a lot of money. Because with that, when we die, we cannot carry this money, what we have accumulated in this life. So we should focus more on spirituality and not invest too much consciousness in earning money. So this is madness. If we invest a lot of consciousness in earning money, then that causes ignorance. So first you are passionate, you want so many things, and if one thing gets filled, then you go into ignorance. You cry, you say God is not justifiable, he's not doing justice with me, he's giving COVID, he's giving India-Pakistan war, he's not giving me car, he's not giving me good house, good wife is torturing me, all those things. So that is ignorance actually, when we start blaming God. We are reading that Hiranyakashipu has become mad after Hiranyaksha is killed by Lord Vishnu. Hiranyakashipu is blaming Lord Vishnu for his loss of his brother. And here Prabhupada writes that even the quality of sleep also determines which mode of nature we are in. So 6 hours of sleep is sufficient, but a man in the mode of ignorance sleeps at least 10 or 12 hours a day. Such a man appears to be always dejected and is addicted to intoxicants and sleeping. These are the symptoms of a person conditioned by the mode of ignorance. Typical hostel life, basically. In hostel, we do these things only, right? People are taking drugs and sleeping at 4 o'clock. Then throughout the day, they are sleeping. They are dejected. They don't have any positive energy. So that's why try not to sleep more than 7 to 8 hours. Ideal is 6 hours. When your conditioning is reduced, you are have made sufficient advancement towards Nistha. 6 hours should be sufficient to rejuvenate your body, but it should be sound sleep. Basically, it should not be shallow sleep. Okay. Any questions? We'll read one more verse, but if anybody wants to ask anything, this is the right time. Yes, ma'am.
क्या हम इसमें मोड ऑफ हमारे 3 मोड्स होते हैं, हम उनको कंक्लूड कर सकते हैं क्या ऐसे कि अगर हम मतलब हमारे जो एक्शंस होंगे वो तीनों मोड्स में सेम रहेंगे, बट उनके जो फ्रूट्स हम किसी को दे रहे, फॉर एग्जांपल अगर तमोगुण है, अगर हम कोई जॉब करता है तो तमोगुण में ही और शी विल थिंक अबाउट हिज सैलरी टू एंजॉय फॉर हिमसेल्फ और हरसेल्फ. बट इन केस ऑफ पैशन, मोड ऑफ पैशन, इट विल मतलब जॉब सेम है, बट वो इंटेंसिटी और वो डेडिकेशन और वो जो हम ऑफरिंग कर रहे हैं वो खुद को कर रहे हैं, किसी और को कर रहे हैं, सब मोड चेंज हो जाता है. इसे समझ सकते हैं ऐसे.
Yes. Correct. बिल्कुल correct. मतलब behind every activity, what matters is the consciousness behind the activity.
ओके.
The same software engineer job you can do in goodness, and same software job you can do in mode of ignorance, or you can do with transcendence also. So these days, like, there are not much Brahmanical activities or farm activities. So software jobs only we have to do with goodness and transcendence. So if you are earning money and you are going to pubs, you are going to bar, that is mode of ignorance. And if you are earning money, having nice car, nice house, then that is mode of passion. And if you are just basically doing your service, doing your projects nicely for pleasure of Krishna, that is transcendence. And if you are not attached to the results, if you are not really hankering for increments or promotion, then that is mode of goodness. You are just doing it as a sake of duty. We will read this in 17th and 18th chapter also. Duties and activities in mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Okay, Mataji?
थैंक यू बिल्कुल.
Yeah, okay. Sure. So this is the last verse. Anybody wants to ask? You can ask after this verse, otherwise we'll conclude. Yeah. Satvam sukhe sanjayati.
Satvam sukhe
Sanjayati.
Raja karmani bharata.
Raja karmana bharata.
Jnanam avritya tu tamaha.
Jnanam avratya tu atama.
Tamaha.
Pramade yutha.
Pramade sanjayati yuta.
O son of Bharata, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions one to fruitive action, and ignorance covering one's knowledge binds one to madness. So Krishna is concluding this section with this verse, that all three modes of nature are actually conditioning us, but only thing is that the suffering will be more in mode of ignorance and passion, and there will be less suffering in goodness, minimal suffering, subtle suffering only. In passion and ignorance, the suffering is more magnified. For example, when Prabhupada went to US, he had to live in the Bowery with the hippies. So he could see their suffering actually. And he's praying to his spiritual master, where have you brought me? This entire place is covered with passion and ignorance. How will they listen to me? It's only you who can empower me to speak something. I don't have any power, any purity to preach to these fallen souls. So Prabhupada is having a very compassionate view for those souls. Yeah. A person in the mode of goodness is satisfied by his work or intellectual pursuit, just as a philosopher, scientist, or educator may be engaged in a particular field of knowledge and may be satisfied in that. ठीक है. A man in the mode of passion may be engaged in fruitive activity. He owns as much as he can and spends for good causes. Sometimes he tries to open hospitals, give to charity institutions, etc. These are signs of one in the mode of passion. And the mode of ignorance covers knowledge. In the mode of ignorance, whatever one does is good neither for him nor for anyone. So in ignorance, we are not able to ascertain what is good and what is right and what is wrong. Actually, we understand right as wrong and wrong as right. In passion, we are not able to ascertain what is right and wrong. And in goodness, we are able to ascertain, okay, this is right, this is wrong. We are able to take steps towards transcendence. Okay, we'll continue the rest of the two sections in the next class, and that will incorporate more detailed analysis of these three modes. And this knowledge is very important because this helps us in our daily life to check our consciousness so that we can elevate our consciousness to mode of goodness. Okay, any other questions? Thank you.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
प्रभु जी,
Yes.
प्रभु जी ब्राह्मण का मतलब समझ में नहीं आ रहा।
Yeah, actually Brahman is used in various places in Bhagavad Gita और different context में use हुआ है. ठीक है, एक वर्ष है ब्राह्मणों ही प्रतिष्ठा हम, है ना. तो जो ब्राह्मण है वो कृष्णा पे ही रेस्ट कर रहा है. तो कृष्णा का जो सच्चिदानंद विग्रह फॉर्म है उस उनकी जो ब्राह्मण इफल्जेंस है वो उसको भी ब्राह्मण बोलते हैं. ठीक है, और जो हमारी आत्मा है उसको भी ब्राह्मण बोलते हैं. इसलिए ब्राह्मणा, जो ब्राह्मण का मतलब है ब्रह्म जानाति इति ब्राह्मणा. ठीक है, तो आत्मा ब्रह्म जानाति मीन्स वन हु नोज द ट्रांसेंडेंस. तो ब्राह्मण ये सारे ही जो स्पिरिचुअल ट्रांसेंडेंस है उसको रेफर करता है बेसिकली. और अब लास्ट में फोर्थ वर्ष हमने देखा कि महातत्व को भी ब्राह्मण बोल दिया गया, उसको भी हम ब्राह्मण से रेफर करते हैं. लास्ट लेक्चर में एक्चुअली आप लोग ये अब्राहम प्रभु क्लास अटेंड नहीं करते हैं, नहीं तो उन्होंने लास्ट लेक्चर में कवर किया था कि ब्राह्मण वर्ड कहाँ यूज है पूरी भगवत गीता में. तो इसलिए ब्राह्मण वर्ड मल्टीपल जगह यूज है और जनरली ये स्पिरिचुअल चीजों को ही एनोटेट करता है, मटेरियल चीजों के लिए यूज नहीं होता. महातत्व भी इट्स क्लोजर टू मतलब स्पिरिचुअलिटी, इट्स नॉट एनीथिंग of this material world, right? So that's why like it's used for Mahatma. तो थोड़ा आंसर हुआ प्रभु, श्रीकर प्रभु?
जी प्रभु।
हाँ, धीरे धीरे हम भगवत गीता पूरा पढ़ेंगे तो इसका और क्लैरिटी आ जाएगा. जनरली जैसे आत्मा वर्ड है ना, आत्मा वर्ड भी भगवत गीता में 6-7 जगह यूज हुआ है. और डिफरेंट, कभी आत्मा को माइंड से रिलेट किया जाता है, कभी आत्मा को सेंसेस से रिलेट किया जाता है, कभी आत्मा को सोल से रिलेट किया जाता है. तो आत्मा मतलब मैं, और मैं कुछ भी हो सकता है. मतलब स्पिरिचुअल लेवल पे सोल हो सकती है, वो इमोशनल लेवल पे माइंड हो सकता है, और मटेरियल लेवल पे सेंसेस हो सकता है. तो यही ऐसा है बेसिकली. इसलिए भगवत गीता को कंटेक्स्ट में समझना बहुत जरूरी है. भगवत गीता को अगर आप एक वर्ष पढ़ के उसका कुछ इंटरप्रिटेशन निकालने लगे तो वो हो सकता है आपको फिर जो कृष्णा और अर्जुन के बीच में कन्वर्सेशन हो रहा है उसको उसका पूरा एसेंस समझ में ना आए. इसलिए कंटेक्स्ट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. हमारे सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियरिंग में भी होता है ऐसा कि आजकल एमएल और एआई बहुत चल रहा है, राइट? तो कोई भी मतलब अगर आपको कुछ आउटपुट कैलकुलेट करना है तो एक कंटेक्स्ट होता है, कंटेक्स्ट बिल्ड किया जाता है कि वो रिक्वेस्ट जहाँ पे पहुंची है वो कहाँ से होती हुई आई है. तो वो कंटेक्स्ट होना बहुत जरूरी है. इवन आपके अगर कोई गृहस्थ काउंसलिंग करना है या मैरिज काउंसलिंग करना है तो कंटेक्स्ट होना बहुत जरूरी है कि कैसे हस्बैंड वाइफ जो है वो किस प्रवृत्ति के हैं और क्या चल रहा है. मतलब बिना कंटेक्स्ट के आप कुछ नहीं एडवाइस कर सकते, कुछ भी मतलब आप कोचिंग नहीं कर सकते. इसलिए वो कंटेक्स्ट बनाने के लिए ही मैं आपको बार बार आप सब लोगों को रिकमेंड कर रहा हूँ कि यू शुड ओपन योर हार्ट टू सीनियर डिवोटीज. द मोर यू डिस्कस थिंग्स विद योर सीनियर डिवोटीज, the more context he will build, the more super soul will give intelligence, and then he'll be able to help you more in the right direction. Okay, thank you Shrikar Prabhu for a nice question. Okay, any other questions?
प्रभु
Yes. Yes,
प्रभु जो 3 modes of nature है वो गुडनेस, पैशन, इग्नोरेंस, प्रभु उनके इंप्रेशंस वो हमारी बॉडी में मतलब सोल में तो इंप्रेशन स्टोर नहीं होती है. ये इम्प्रेशन एक्चुअली स्टोर कहाँ होती है प्रभु, जो हमें रियलाइज कराती है कि ये गलत है या सही है?
हाँ, ये काफी थोड़ा हाई लेवल क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हो आप, लेकिन इसको एक्चुअली ये सेम सिमिलर क्वेश्चन पूछा था पिछली लास्ट क्लास में प्रभु से, कि सोल तो पूरी प्योर है, ठीक है, तो सारे जो इम्प्रेशंस हैं वो हमारी सटल बॉडी में स्टोर्ड है। हमारे उसको अंतकरण भी बोलते हैं। अभी आप देखोगे तो हमारे हार्ट में आत्मा भी है, परमात्मा भी है, और हमारा माइंड की कवरिंग भी है आत्मा के ऊपर, लेकिन फिर भी आत्मा प्योर है। तो सारे जो इम्प्रेशंस हैं वो हमारे माइंड पे हैं। ऐसा कहा जाता है कि अगर हम रजोगुण सत्व ऐसे रजोगुण और तमोगुण में, इसका मतलब 20 किलोमीटर की लेयर है हमारी आत्मा उसकी, माइंड की। इसलिए माइंड को हमें प्योरीफाई करना है किसी तरह। तो इसलिए कर्मा भी जो होता है वो 4 प्रकार का होता है: कूटा, बीजा, प्रारब्ध और अप्रारब्ध, ठीक है। तो इम्प्रेशन जो है वो ज्यादा फाइन होता है, वो कूटा और बीजा होता है। और जो बहुत बड़ी बड़ी लेयर्स हैं माइंड के ऊपर, कि हम 10 घंटे सो गए, 12 घंटे सो गए, ठीक है, और गुस्सा कर दिया, रोने लगे, भूत भूत अटैक कर गया, ये सारी चीजें, मतलब इसका मतलब है कि 10 किलोमीटर की लेयर है बेसिकली। वो कोई इंप्रेशन इतना नहीं है, इग्नोरेंस का ढांचा बना हुआ है हमारी सोल के ऊपर, समझ रहे हैं। तो डिफरेंट इसके भी फ्लेवर्स हैं, भक्ति के जैसे डिफरेंट फ्लेवर्स होते हैं ना, कंडीशनिंग के भी डिफरेंट फ्लेवर्स होते हैं, समझ रहे हो।
Yes, प्रभु। ओके ओके प्रभु।
ठीक है, मतलब मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि आप कवर्ड है, मैं भी कवर्ड हूँ, मतलब मेरे अंदर भी हैं लेयर्स, मेरे अंदर भी कंडीशनिंग है। तो इसलिए हमें प्रायोरिटाइज करना चाहिए। जैसे आप इतने अच्छे क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं, इससे काफी लोगों का भला हो रहा है। यहाँ पे कई लोग नए हैं एक्चुअली, सबको काफी इन डेप्थ नॉलेज जा रही है। पवन रघु के प्रभु काफी इंक्विजिटिव है, और ये सब क्वेश्चन पूछने का यही फायदा होता है कि जो क्वेश्चन पूछता है उसको क्रेडिट मिलता है, जो आंसर देता है वो भी उसको भी मिलता है, और जो सुन रहे हैं उनको भी मिलता है। तो सबका 10 टाइम्स क्रेडिट मिल जाता है सबको। तो क्वेश्चंस आर ऑल ऑस्पिशियस। ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है। थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर कमिंग। जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। We'll meet next time.